Do not store up for yourselves treasure on earth, where moth and rust consumes, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasure in heaven, where neither moth or rust consumes, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will also be.
I'm going to be reading from Ecclesiastes 3. Ecclesiastes is basically a sermon written by King Solomon, describing all the things that he's learned in his life and trying to communicate that down to future generations. In this particular passage, it's something that you've all probably heard multiple times. King Solomon was born in Jerusalem, the second child of King David and Bathsheba. Their first child, who was unnamed in Scripture, was a son conceived in adultery, who died 7 days after his birth as a judgment from God. Following his sin and unable to convince Bathsheba's then husband Uriah to lay down with his wife in time to cover up that sin, David orders his trusted lieutenant into battle. Having instructed his commanding officer Joab to withdraw, went into battle in order to have Uriah killed by the enemy. With Uriah out of the way, David then marries Bathsheba, and Solomon is born about a year after. Solomon's name means peace. Biblical scholars suggest Solomon was a peace offering of sorts between God and David. After their first child died, David openly repented and was forgiven by God. Some historians suggest that Nathan the prophet raised Solomon while his father, the king, was busy governing the realm. Solomon had 3 named full brothers born to Bathsheba: Nathan, Shemua, and Shobab, in addition to 6 older half-brothers born of as many mothers. It's said that Solomon ascended the throne when he was only 15. As King David became frail and lay dying, court factions began maneuvering for power. Adonijah, David's oldest son and heir apparent, had himself declared king, but he acted too soon, while David was still alive. And he was outmaneuvered by Bathsheba and Nathan, who convinced David to proclaim Solomon as king, despite being younger than his brothers. David instructed Solomon to begin his reign with an extensive purge, including his father's chief general, Joab, among others. Solomon further consolidated his position as king by appointing friends throughout his administration, including in religious positions as well as in government and military posts. 1 Kings tells the story where, once in place and on the throne, Solomon sacrificed to God, and God appeared to him in a dream asking what Solomon wanted. Solomon asked for wisdom in order to better rule and guide the people. Pleased with his response, God answered Solomon's prayer, promising him great wisdom because he did not ask for self-serving rewards like long life or the death of his enemies. King Solomon is a central figure in the Bible, and he was the builder of the first temple in Jerusalem, a credit denied his father David because of his sins. Solomon died of natural causes at around 55 years old, and upon his death, Rehoboam, his son, succeeded him. But the northern 10 tribes of Israel refused Rehoboam as king because of his arrogance and his heavy financial burdens on them. And the tribes immediately fell into a civil war, with the northern kingdom of Israel, later known as Samaria, under Jeroboam, while Rehoboam continued to reign over the smaller southern kingdom of Judah. The 2 kingdoms were never again reunited. Solomon is considered the author of several biblical books, including Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and the Psalms, or Song of Solomon. He's also considered the author of the Wisdom of Solomon, which is included in the scriptures of the Catholic and Eastern Orthodox churches, but it's considered part of the Apocrypha in most Protestant denominations. And just reminding you, the Apocrypha is a block of books that were written at the end of the Old Testament for about 300 years up to the time of Christ that did not become part of Jewish canon and are outside of Christian canon, but they are still considered to be legitimate historical records. Today, we're going to summarize Ecclesiastes, a book Solomon wrote to explain what he learned during his life of great wisdom. The word Ecclesiastes is a Latin translation of a Greek translation of a Hebrew word Koheleth, which means one who convenes an assembly, or more simply, a preacher. Solomon opens his preaching with the statement, "Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. Nothing is new, and all will occur again." And keep in mind, he wrote this about 3,000 years ago. Reading from his open, I'm going to read chapter 1, verses 3 through 18. Solomon opening his lesson or his preaching on what he's learned about life. What do people gain from all the toil at which they toil under the sun? A generation goes and a generation comes, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun goes down and hurries to the place where it rises. The wind blows to the south and goes around to the north. Round and round goes the wind, and on its circuits the wind returns. All streams run to the sea, but the sea is not full. To the place where the streams flow, there they continue to flow. All things are wearisome, more than one can express. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, or the ear filled with hearing. What has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done. There is nothing new under the sun. Is there a thing of which it is said, "See, this is new"? It's already been in the ages before us. The people of long ago are not remembered, nor will there be any remembrance of people yet to come by those who come after them. I, the teacher, when king over Israel and Jerusalem, applied my mind to seek and search out by wisdom all that is done under heaven. It is an unhappy business that God has given to human beings to be happy with. I saw all the deeds that are done under the sun, and see, all is vanity and chasing after wind. What is crooked cannot be made straight. What is lacking cannot be counted. I said to myself, I have acquired great wisdom, surpassing all who were over Jerusalem before me, and my mind has had great experience of wisdom and knowledge. And I applied my mind to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. I perceive this also is but chasing after the wind. For in much wisdom is much vexation, and those who increase knowledge also increase their sorrow. In his second chapter, Solomon begins by saying he explored the pleasures of life without limits, as only a king can. I said to myself, come now, I will make a test of pleasure and enjoy life. But again, this also is vanity. He lists a multitude of worldly pleasures: wine, gardens and vineyards, slaves, herds and flocks, singers, wives and concubines. Nothing was denied him. Despite these worldly pleasures, nothing was gained. So he sought out wisdom, but still found no comfort. Yet I perceived that the same fate befalls everyone. Then I said to myself, what happens to the fools will happen to me also. Why then have I been so very wise? And I said to myself that this also is vanity. For there is no enduring remembrance of the wise or of fools, seeing that in the days to come all will have been long forgotten. How can the wise die just like fools? And with wisdom Solomon also found depression. So I turned and gave my heart up to despair concerning all the toil of my labors under the sun. Because sometimes one who has toiled with wisdom and knowledge and skill must still leave all to be enjoyed by another who did not toil for it. This also is vanity and a great evil. And it's here where he comes to his first conclusion. There is nothing better for mortals than to eat and drink and find enjoyment in their life and in their struggles. This also I saw is from the hand of God. For apart from him, who can eat or drink or have enjoyment? For to the one who pleases him, God gives wisdom and knowledge and joy. But to the sinner, he gives the work of gathering and heaping, only to give to someone else who pleases God. The third chapter opens with one of the best known phrases in Scripture, and the words Ecclesiastes is probably best known for. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. He later reveals another conclusion regarding what it means to be happy. I have seen the business that God has given to everyone to be busy with, and he has made everything suitable for its time. Moreover, he has put a sense of past and future into our minds, yet they cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. I know that there is nothing better to them than to be happy and to enjoy themselves as long as they live. Moreover, it's God's gift that all should eat and drink and take pleasure in all their toil. I know that whatever God does endures forever. Nothing can be added to it, nor taken from it. God has done this so that all should stand in awe before God. That which is already has been. That which is to be already is. And God seeks out what has gone by. So I saw that there is nothing better than that all should enjoy their work, for that is their lot. The fourth chapter examines evil and injustice. Then I saw that all toil and all skill and work come from one person's envy of another. This also is vanity and a chasing after wind. And he notes the value of a friend. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up the other. But woe to one who is alone and falls and does not have another to help. And though one might prevail against another, two can withstand one. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. Chapter 5 speaks to the mistake of hoarding wealth. There is a grievous ill that I have seen under the sun. Riches were kept by their owners to their hurt, and those riches were lost in a bad venture. Even though they were parents of children, those children have nothing in their hands. This is what I have seen to be good. It's fitting to eat and drink and find enjoyment in all the toil with which one toils under the sun, for the few days of life God has given us. For this is our lot. Likewise, all to whom God gives wealth and possessions, and whom he enables to enjoy them and accept their lot and find enjoyment in their toil. This is a gift of God. For they will scarcely brood over the days of their lives, because God keeps them occupied with the joy of their hearts. The sixth chapter opens with the observation that it doesn't matter how wealthy you are or how long you live. If you don't enjoy life and find pleasure with those around you, it doesn't matter. There is an evil that I have seen under the sun, and it lies heavily upon humankind. Those to whom God gives wealth, possessions, and honor, so that they lack nothing of all that they desire. Yet God does not enable them to enjoy these things, but a stranger enjoys them. This is vanity. A man may father 100 children and live many years, but however many are the days of his years, if he does not enjoy life's good things and have a good burial, I say a stillborn child is better off than he. The seventh chapter is mostly a reflection or a summary of Proverbs, something that Solomon also wrote, with statements like, it's better for the end of a thing than its beginning. And do not say, where are the former days, or were the former days, better than today. For it is not from wisdom that you ask questions like this. Wisdom is as good as an inheritance, an advantage to those who see the sun. And surely there is no one on earth so righteous as to do good without ever having sinned. In chapter 8, Solomon observes again that the righteous and the wicked share comparable worldly lives. There is vanity that takes place on earth, that there are righteous people who are treated according to the conduct of the wicked, and wicked people who are treated according to the conduct of the righteous. I said that this also is vanity. So I commend enjoyment, for there is nothing better for people under the sun than to eat and drink and enjoy themselves. For this will go with them in their toil through the days of their lives that God gives them under the sun. He continues his lament of equality among the righteous and the wicked in 9. Everything that confronts them is vanity, since the same fate comes to all. To the righteous and the wicked, to the good and the evil, to the clean and the unclean, to those who sacrifice and those who do not. As are the good, so are sinners. This is an evil that happens under the sun, that the same fate comes to everyone. Moreover, the hearts of humans are full of evil. Madness is in their hearts while they live, and after that they go to the dead. But then he notes that those who seek God have an advantage. But whoever is joined with the living has hope. For a living dog is better than a dead lion. The living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing, and they have no reward. Even the memory of them is lost. Their love and their hate and their envy have already perished. Never again will they have any share in all that happens under the sun. So he continues, enjoy life to the best of your abilities. Go, eat your bread with enjoyment and drink your wine with a merry heart. For God has long ago approved of what you do. Let your garments always be white. Do not let oil be lacking on your head. Enjoy life with the wife whom you have loved, will love all the days of your vain life that you are given to you under the sun, because that is your portion in life, and in your toil at which you will toil under the sun. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might, so that there is no work or thought or knowledge or wisdom in Sheol, where you're going. Again I saw that under the sun the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor bread to the wise, nor riches to the intelligent, nor favor to the skillful. But time and chance happen to all of them. For no one can anticipate one's time. Like fish taken in a cruel net, or like birds caught in a snare, so mortals are snared at a time of calamity, when it suddenly befalls them. In chapter 10, Solomon returns to summarize what he has learned. And in the 11th, he advises everybody to enjoy life to the fullest, with a caveat. Rejoice, young men, while you are young, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Follow the inclination of your heart and the desire of your eyes. But know that for all these things, God will bring you into judgment. Solomon lived a charmed life. He was loved and respected by his people and his neighbors. He reigned in a time of peace and abundance, and there was nothing unavailable to him as a wealthy, prosperous, popular king. And he explored it all before writing Ecclesiastes. Here, Solomon lays it all down as a sermon from the pulpit of his throne. Everyone has a life, despite the wide spectrum of wealth and abilities we're born into. Nothing worldly matters. Wealth and power not only don't bring happiness, but they are left after we die to those who did not earn them or work for them. It's the little things, friends, love, a purpose, righteous living, and understanding of God that bring joy, regardless of how you're born or your status in life. Solomon closes his this last chapter by repeating where he started. Vanity of vanities, said the teacher, all is vanity. He leads to his close by reminding the reader to embrace God early in life, before troubles and old age come upon them, using many illustrations of what it means to become old. The last few lines of the book offer a short summary of the whole of life. The man considered one of the wisest who ever lived, who's done it, tasted it all, offers us this simple conclusion. The end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments, for that is the whole duty of everyone. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every secret thing, whether good or evil. I thought about ending the lesson here as I was reviewing it. But then I realized that Solomon, despite all of his wisdom, missed something very important. And it's something that Jesus emphasized throughout his teaching. Solomon concluded that everything was vanity. Nothing mattered beyond living a good life, regardless of your place in it. Having friends and family, love, and the opportunity to enjoy them, regardless of the station that you were born into. And these are good and important lessons. But, as Solomon noted to his admitted self-despair, nothing one does to accumulate worldly wealth or prestige matters in the end. None of it lasts, and is always assumed by someone else who ultimately forgets its origin. Jesus tells us something similar. Take care. Be on your guards against all kind of greed, for one's life does not consist of abundance and possessions. Then he explained it all with a parable. The land of a rich man produced abundantly, and he thought to himself, what should I do, for I have no place to store my crops? Then he said, I'll do this. I'll pull down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, you fool. This very night your life is being demanded of you. And the things that you have prepared, whose will they be? So it is with those who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich towards God. Let me restate that because it didn't sound right. So it is with those who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich towards God. That parable was in Luke 12. And this is what Solomon also observed and concluded. But in Matthew 6, Jesus explains something a little bit more different. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust consume, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consumes, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, your heart will be also. So what treasures can we possibly store up on earth that we can still use in heaven? Justice, mercy, forgiveness, and grace are all things that we will want and need in our next life if we're going to avoid being left outside of heaven and looking in. And how can we store up these treasures in heaven for our use? Jesus tells us if we want justice, we have to extend justice on earth. If we want mercy, we have to extend it in our lives. If we want forgiveness, we have to offer it to others. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. Luke 6. These good measures, these heavenly treasures, can be accumulated and stored up for us, where neither moth nor rust consumes, and where thieves do not break in and steal. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, and put into our lap. For the measure we give will be the measure that we get back. Solomon rightly noted that nothing worldly mattered. The world and all of its possessions are vanity. The things that matter in life are the things that live inside of our spirits. Love and joy, regardless of our station in life. Peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, and generosity. Lived in self-control and given enough faith in God. Solomon alludes to this in his lesson. But what Solomon either didn't realize or failed to mention was that all of these things are given to or shared with other people while we're alive. And that these are the only treasures that we can carry and keep with us after our time in the world. Solomon may have missed this and even despaired over it, but Jesus saw it clearly and taught it repeatedly. What we do for ourselves, the joys we claim as our own in this world, are vanity, lost to time, and moth, and rust. But the love and joys we share with others in our spirits are remembered across time and across generations, and are treasures we carry into our next lives without loss. Treasures we will carry and share with the saints and children of heaven. Amen. Our closing prayer will be number 320 in the written hymnal. As you're turning to that, next week we're going to talk a little deeper on King David. The reading will be 1 Samuel 24. And the reflection for the week is, could you show mercy on somebody who was trying to kill you? Let's say together the prayer on number 320 in the red hymnal. Almighty God, through Jesus Christ,
you overcame death and opened to us the gate of everlasting life. Grant that we, who celebrate the day of our Lord's resurrection, may, by the renewing of the Spirit, arise from the death of sin to the life of righteousness. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
I'm Dan Thaxton, and I'm the pastor here in New Lebanon. I hope you found this morning's message interesting, educational, and maybe even a little inspiring. And if you have, I'd like you to at least consider giving some thought to pressing the like button on your video. That will help other people who are looking for similar quality content to find it if they're doing searches on YouTube. If you found this information useful and valuable to you, please consider giving some thought to making a donation to the church. Not everybody realizes that our church is completely voluntary. There is no payroll. So all of your offerings will go directly to mission and outreach, or indirectly in the way of internet and electrical services and the like. Lastly, if you found this content interesting and useful, we have an entire library of similar messages and lessons available on our internet site at www.newlebanonumc.com. New Lebanon UMC is all one word, .com. And there you'll find a collection of messages, lessons categorized by title and subject, with a YouTube link to finding it. With that, thank you again for watching, and I wish you all a very blessed day.